Idea that there is going to be this perfect person who completely understands you upon meeting them, and you won't have to communicate the way that you want to be treated, and you won't have to have these tough conversations, and everything will just work out perfectly. That's not helpful. And then three, which I think is like probably the most deadly and something that I myself am very guilty of, is that we have gotten so far into like encouraging everyone to be independent and be happy on their own, which is important. I say it all the time. It is very important.
What's good to YouTube? It's your boy Two Tough One. You rocking me, I'm rocking with y'all. Today we got a nice reaction video. We got this girl, she's diving in on why there's going to be a single epidemic. Like there's a lot of people out here single. Hit the like button, subscribe button. I ain't gonna talk your ear off. Let's get it, let's go.
Three main things. I think one, everything has to be social media approved now. It's not enough for you to find somebody that makes you happy. You also have to find someone that is going to put you in a relationship where you're able to brag about it all on social media, and that's not helpful. Two, the idea that there is going to be this perfect person who completely understands you upon meeting them, and you won't have to communicate the way that you want to be treated, and you won't have to have these tough conversations, and everything will just work out perfectly. That's not helpful. And then three, which I think is like probably the most deadly and something that I myself am very guilty of, is that we have gotten so far into like encouraging everyone to be independent and be happy on their own, which is important. I say it all the time. It is very important. But I think that we're kind of in a point where we've overcorrected. Like you keep seeing this rhetoric of like, oh, you don't owe people this, you don't owe people that, like you don't have to put up with that. And I think that you guys are missing the fact that like when you are in a relationship with someone, even if it's not romantic, even in a friendship, there are going to be aspects of this relationship that are not necessarily pleasant all the time. And the solution can't always be, well, never mind, I'm just going to be single. I'm just going to be by myself. Or let's just go no contact. Let's just not even be friends anymore. That's not the solution. Everything cannot be solved by, oh, I'll just be by myself and let's just not do this anymore. That's not how you stay in a relationship. Yes, you do need to be independent. Yes, you need to get to a place where you are happy on your own. But if you want to be in a relationship, it is going to come with tough decisions, and decisions that will come where you could make the choice to say, I'm just going to be single. Let's just not try anymore. Or you could compromise and be patient and be forgiving. Like being in a relationship of any sort, again, not even romantic, being in any sort of relationship is going to cause you to have some sort of a conflict. And you can't solve conflict if your very first or last answer is to just say, let's forget it. Let's just split up. That's not how you stay together. Yep. I'm glad and I'm grateful that society, and women specifically, really women, have moved past the point of needing to be in a relationship because like if you weren't attached to a man, then you could not provide for yourself. I'm glad for that. But the reason why your grandparents and all of them stayed together was because they had to stay together and they didn't have any choice. And that it's great that we're not in that anymore. But I do think in order to maintain a long-term partnership, especially with someone you want to be with for the absolute rest of your life, you do need to have a mindset of like, okay, I'm going to be in this.
I want to elaborate on some things. I'm not going to talk too much because I'm going to let her finish out her take. But she said that our grandparents, you know, your grandma and your granddad, she said the reason that they stayed together was because they didn't have a choice. They didn't have a choice. They always had a choice. Back then, people were dating to be around each other for a long period of time. See what I'm saying? It was a different type of love. It was a different type of approach. It was back then where men was outside. There wasn't no cell phones and Instagram and Twitter and TikTok and all this extra stuff. Men had to put on a fit, make sure their hair was cut, make sure they had the right attire on, go to the gym, and if they weren't in the gym, they was working real hard labor jobs. You know what I'm saying? Working in the steel mill, cutting down trees, working for the railroad, in the oil field. A lot of them went to the military. So it was a different time, a different place to where men was actually being men. Women were being women as well. Not saying that women can't be women today, but it was just a different type of dynamic to where, hey, I'm a man, I'm gonna go out there and go get this money, and you make sure you take care of them kids, and when I come home, we can have a family. That has changed. That has changed. 100%. Comment down below what you think about that.
Like, leaving actually is not an option. Like, I'm going to stay and I'm going to make this relationship the best that I can make it, because that's what I committed to. That's what I decided to do. And leaving and being by myself is not an option. But when everybody is so quick to say, let's just give up, throw my hands up, and walk away, you
Yep.
can't stay together that way. That doesn't make any sense. And again, this is something that I'm guilty of. I've talked about this multiple times. Like, I'm the very first person to throw my hands up and say, just don't call me no more. Leave me alone. But again, that's not how you stay in a relationship. And I think that a lot of us are at that place, both men and women, where we have decided it's easier to just be by myself. And yes, it is easier in a lot of ways for you to be by yourself, but that doesn't mean that that is the answer, especially since there's only so much growing and self-development and healing that you can do when you're by yourself. Once you
Correct.
get to a certain point, you need someone there to reflect you back to you. You need someone to show you your shortcomings. You need somebody to show you the things in you that still need to be healed. So being single and being alone and just giving up on having relationships as soon as they get tough is not the answer. And I really do think that is why we're in such an epidemic.
Now I want to go in on a few things that she said. I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed her take because she made a lot of valid points. There's only like one area where I kind of sort of disagree, but I understood where she was coming from. Dating nowadays is almost like a circus. It's almost like, I can't pick this person because they won't look good with me on Instagram. Oh, I can't pick this person because they wouldn't look cute with me on a video. And people are looking for certain qualities and certain aspects that doesn't necessarily mean that that person is a good person or they're right for them in a sense. Now, when it comes to, how do I say this? When it comes to getting to know someone and understanding that there will be conflict. There are going to be hard times. Of course, when you first meet someone, it's going to be all sunshines and rainbows and everything's going to be flowing smoothly, and y'all probably going to be having sex and all these other things, and everything's just going to be a spark. But there's going to be a time frame to where y'all are going to bump heads, and you got to understand that there is going to be trials and tribulations within a relationship. I think people are expecting a fairy tale when in reality that's not life. Life in itself, it has love, and when you have love, it comes pain. If you are a man and you're trying to accept love, guess what comes with that? Pain. And it's the same thing if you are a woman. It's the same role. If you're in love with someone, you open yourself up to be vulnerable. That's why it hurts when someone betrays you, or when you thought someone was down and they left you, because that's what it is. Love, you got to take the good with the bad. Now, one of my favorite sections within that video is when she said society has been pushing this agenda on how people should value being independent. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. Being independent, yes, everybody has to learn how to pay bills. Everybody has to learn how to go to work. Everybody has to learn how to think clearly and think for themselves. But if you are wanting companionship, or if you're wanting to be with somebody, if you're wanting to build and get into a relationship, and heck, even at the end goal, if you want to get married and commit your life to your spouse and say those vows, you're gonna have to switch your mindset, because when you think of a relationship, it's two people, right? It's two people. But then y'all come together as one. So if you're already going in on an independent mindset, you are already failing from the start, because y'all are not on the same frequency. Y'all are not. A lot of people think it's a flex, like, oh, I'm super independent. I don't need nobody for nothing. I don't need this. I don't need that. And in the case, yes, that is a flex. But at the same time, if you're wanting to be with somebody, if you're wanting to have a family and build a family, that type of thought process is flawed. It's flawed, because then you're never necessarily in a state to where you're going to be open minded, and you're going to have the what's the word, the traits in order to pull a partner and make it last for long term. You're going to have to compromise something. You're going to have to compromise something. And that's I think that's where a lot of people fail at in today's society. That's just me. Comment down below what y'all think.
So everybody might not agree, to each his own. But as a married woman, I chose to put a cap on having single friends. I do have a few single friends, and they've been my friends for 10 plus years. You understand?
Okay.
So
About
I
a
feel
decade.
like as single people, and there's nothing wrong with this, but single people have single people priorities. As a married woman, my priorities are different. They don't always align with yours. You go out, you want to get tips, you want to get drunk, you want to wild, all that stuff. That's not something I'm going to do. But I will be checking in with my spouse. often. You see what I'm saying? I'm not going to go ghost for an hour, hour and a half. I'm not doing that. I'm going to be checking in because that's my priority. You know, it's not about being controlling. It's just communication. That's it. When you get married, you're a team. And I'm not going
Uh-huh.
to do anything without thinking about how it might affect my spouse. That's how I am. You know, if we go out and plans change, which they often do, I'm going to be on that line telling my wife, hey, who, what, when, why, where, what time, the whole 9 yards. Again, I'm not asking permission. It's not about asking permission. It's respect. Open line of communication. I'm going to respect her. I'm not about to be coming in the house 1, 2, 3 in the morning. I'm not doing that. I'm going to have respect for her and come in the house at a respectable time because I respect the household that I have built. You know, everybody might not agree, you know, to each his own. But for me and my marriage, that's how I roll. And I'm not saying, you know, it's something wrong with having.
Yo, what is going on with the dude in the back on the motorcycle? He's cutting up. But I ain't gonna lie to her. I respect what she's saying, because single life and married life, that's two completely different things, man. Two different things. I'm talking about when you single, especially I'm single right now. I can go outside and be outside all night. I got a partner. He don't go to the club until midnight. And he don't end up going back home till 5 a.m. I'm talking about he outside all night. That's crazy. That's insane. But you know what I'm saying? Once you get married, you can't do that unless you got your shorty with you and she turning up with you. You feel me? But if she ain't in that club scene, nah, you can't stay out till 5 a.m. Boy, you crazy. You gonna have to go out at like 7 and make it back home by like 10 or 11 and text her and hit her with the updates all night on God, depending on what type of spouse you got. You feel me? So comment down below what y'all think on that.
Single friends, but 9 out of 10 single people, single for a reason, and they have different priorities. So that's just my take on it. Agree or don't.
No cap. Now I can't lie to y'all. When it comes to communication, when it comes to communicating with your spouse and just updating them, like, hey, I'm gonna go out around this time. We gonna be here. We gonna be there. If plan change, you hit them back. I feel like communication is one of the number one things that you have to learn when you are in a relationship, and especially if you married. If you married, you gonna have to text your girl and be like, hey, say baby, we finna be here. We finna be there. Oh, we ain't going here, we going next. You know what I'm saying? You gonna have to let her know and keep her updated, because it's not the fact that she don't trust you. It's just the fact that she want to know that her husband's safe, and it's vice versa. If your girl went outside and, you know what I'm saying, she going to these places, whatever the case may be, you really want to make sure that your girl's safe. It is not the fact that you're trying to control her. Now, at the same time, everybody kind of different. So maybe your spouse is kind of laid back and they ready for you to go home. I mean, to go out, get out the crib, and they go watch Mean Girls and eat food without you and be chilling, posted up in the bed, and they want some free time. Who knows? But at the same time, you cannot go wrong with communicating with your spouse. Now, another point I want to talk about, when she said married life and single life is two completely different things, and it is. When you married, you know what I'm saying, you looking to give yourself to one person. You know what I'm saying? You gonna give yourself to one person and you trying to build a family. When you single, you out there in them streets. You out there in them streets and you looking for the cheeks. Am I lying? Hey, y'all, it's your boy Tuto Boy, man. Hit the like, subscribe, and comment down below what you think about this. I'm going to Mount. I ain't gonna talk y'all ear off. Gone.